There is an easy way to sum up the concept of the MX-5. Less is more. And that's why the Miata is still here.
You know, when the Mazda Miata was first introduced, we were heavily into MGBs at that time. Then the customer came in the door with this 1990 Mazda Miata. All said, well, we got to go out and get one of these.
My dad bought a Mazda Miata new in 1991, and it started it all.
The original Miata I drove was a 90. I'm born in 91, so that would make the car I originally drove older than me.
The Miatas have been around for so long that they have become kind of the standard for the SCCA for a lot of guys.
Well, the Miatas are just a lot of fun to drive, you know. The competition's so good. They're such a great handling car.
If you're sort of an entry-level racer and you're getting into cars, you know, out of go-karts, the spec Miata really is the best way to go.
It's such a great platform. It has handling, it has good performance all around, good braking. It's just a good driver's car.
You can take a good Miata street car and build it into a race winner because it's such a good start.
You just take a stock MX-5, you know, you're going to run stock cats, stock headers on this car. You're going to put the Mazda cold air intake, the Mazda spring kit that comes directly from Mazda, Mazda exhaust, your 8-point roll cage. I mean, you're pretty much set to go. You know, for not a whole lot of effort, you can get a really competitive race car, you know, in that MX-5.
The car is very bulletproof.
The engine and trans that are in this car were in it for 4 years and we never had an issue.
The car we used that became a race car had 140,000 miles on the chassis.
This particular car had over 300,000 miles on it when we bought it.
It had probably 100,000 miles on it when it became a race car, and now it's racing for us.
I can only remember one time when I had a DNF and it was just from a broken throttle body.
We've never had a mechanical DNF. The car is reliable. All the Mazda cars really are very reliable.
And these things literally run day and night and don't ever stop.
Since 2008, we've won 11 championships, set 15 track records, and other than the 3 races we've DNF'd, we've only finished off the podium 4 times.
I was fortunate enough to win 3 national championships in a row with this car. I don't know where the car had been for those first 300,000 miles, but the last couple thousand have been probably a little quicker than the first 300.
I just can't say enough about Mazda, and the Mazda Miata is just a wonderful car.
Thank you very much for joining us here in the Mazda display at the 2014 SEMA show. We're really glad you could be with us today for our special announcement. I do have some questions for all of you today. Question number 1, what is a car company to do when we have the best-selling 2-seat sports car in the history of the world? Well, at Mazda we believe when something works, you repeat it. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And 60 days ago, we did exactly that at venues around the world. We unveiled the 4th generation MX-5 Miata. Media around the world and the Miata faithful have absolutely given it their blessing. And who thought that the new car could get better looking the 4th time around? But Mazda engineers and Mazda designers have done it again. Over 930,000 MX-5 Miatas have been sold to date. It's quite a number. Almost half of those here in the USA. That 1 million mark is not far away now. Question number 2. And in the planning stages for a new car launch, what do executive management members ask at the car companies? All of them. That's right, they ask, when are you going to go racing with it? Is that right? Well, they don't all ask that, but at Mazda they do. Right along with the product plan, the marketing plan, and the incentive plan, we're asked to come up with the racing plan. Racing is in our blood. It's always been there, it always will be. It's who we are, not who we want to be. Mazda's not new to racing. We have a long history in the sport. We're not just in it for some news clippings and to fill our trophy case, just to run off to do something else a short time later. That's what makes us different from our competition. Question number 3. What is a car company to do, and you just saw it in the video, when the best-selling two-seat sports car in history becomes the most road-raced car in history? The answer? Well, once again, when something works, we believe you should repeat it. Nearly 3,000 spec Miata kits have been sold through Mazda Motorsports, creating the largest spec class in the world. This car here, to some of your right and to some of your left, this white one, is almost what started it all. This is one of the original 3 MX-5 Miatas from the 1989 Chicago Auto Show stand. Shortly after that show, this car was built into a race car, the very first MX-5 Miata race car, and the very first Miata to ever win a race. Since that launch in 1989, Miatas have won thousands of road races. Over 3 dozen SCCA National Championship runoffs gold medals, many NASA National Championships, and in 2011, the Grand Am Continental Sports Car Series Manufacturers Championship. Things continue to get better for the MX-5 Miata. During the 2014 season, we experienced the largest car counts in the 8-year history of our current Mazda MX-5 Cup, presented by BF Goodrich. And with us today from BF Goodrich is Peter Calhoun. Peter, where are you at? There he is in the back. Thank you. Just yesterday, the news got even better. We announced a new corporate partner for the MX-5 Cup Series here in the U.S., and they're with us today. Battery Tender will become the title partner of the great series here in the U.S. for the next 2 years. With us today, Mr. Mike Prelick and Evan Prelick. Thank you so much for coming on board. Mike ate the pudding, so to speak. We slipped some Mazda pudding, and he is a 2 Miata owner, both race cars. So we're pleased to have the Prelicks officially part of the family. We're here also today to talk about the future. And if you haven't already guessed, all of us at Mazda are racers. And in every single Mazda road car, there is a little bit of the MX-5 Miata in it. So it's only fitting that before the 4th generation car has even hit Mazda dealerships, our engineers and our designers have built a race car out of it. Here. There you go. We're pleased to announce today that starting in 2016, and for the very first time ever, there will be a global MX-5 Cup Series. Building off the success of the series here in the U.S., our colleagues in Japan, as well as Asia and Europe, plan to implement regional series based around the new car, culminating in the very first global MX-5 Cup final at, you guessed it, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. With the winner-take-all champion of that global final testing for a seat in the Mazda Sky Active prototype for drives and events like the Rolex 24 at Daytona. That's a pretty awesome prize. The new global MX-5 Cup car will be based on the 2-liter Sky Active power plant and the all-new platform. Along with the announcement that we're establishing a global MX-5 Cup, this will also be the very first time that Mazda will be directly involved in the development, the production, and the distribution of the race cars themselves. We believe the only way to truly ensure a globally equal race series where every car is truly identical and the results come down to driving talent versus creative engineering is to develop and sell the cars centrally. It's a big deal for us. While we've already been global, starting in 2014, we have a partnership with iRacing, and Kevin Bobbitt is here with iRacing. Kevin and his colleagues helped us establish the global MX-5 Cup Series through iRacing. In 2 different series this year, 25,000 entries competed in the current MX-5 Cup cars, and the 2 winners, one from France and one from Hawaii, will be competing in our Club Racer Shootout next month at Buttonwillow Raceway. 2016 will open a new chapter for Mazda. Yes, a new chapter, but it's a continuation of an amazing story where Mazda defies convention, and a story about an amazing car that only Mazda could make happen.